Physics is a branch of science that deals with the study of measurements and the laws governing the various phenomena of the universe. Motion is one of the most interesting phenomena in nature. So to study motion, we need to measure distance and time and the relationship between the two. This is what we are going to discuss in this chapter. What do we mean by motion and what do we mean by rest? So when the object change their position with time, then the body is said to be in motion, and if the object do not change its position with time, then it's said to be at rest. Now let's have a look. Here, what do you see? There are two images given, and just look at the green color of car. So this green car, you can look at the position. Here it is in between these white cars, and in another picture it moves and it is at the front. So it shows that the car is moving. That means because it is changing its position from back time, then it is said to be in motion. Now let's learn about measurement of time. The most important thing is to know that how time is measured. In earlier time, people used the events or phenomena which repeated regularly to measure time. For example, the time interval between sunrise and sunset, from one full moon to another full moon, from one season to another season. So these time intervals could not be used as the standard units of time. Why? Because the time intervals are long. The time intervals are long. Number 2, these time intervals change from place to place and from time to time. Now here in this picture you can see a pendulum. So in year 1583, Galileo suggested that a pendulum can be used to regulate clocks. So what is a simple pendulum? A simple pendulum consists of a small metallic ball that is called bob. Then it is suspended by a string from a frictionless rigid support. This is the support. Then the string and then a metallic ball that is known as a bob. Now in another picture you can see that the pendulum in middle, it is at the rest. So this rest position is called mean position. Now the position where the bob is at the maximum distance from the mean position, here you can see the point A and point C. So they are called extreme position. So from A to B and B to C, it completes one oscillation. The maximum displacement of the bob, that means this metallic ball, from its mean position is called the amplitude of the pendulum. The displacement AB and BC, okay, they are known as complete amplitude of the pendulum, and the time taken by the bob, that means this metallic ball of a pendulum, to complete one oscillation. One oscillation is called the time period of the oscillation. Now, earlier people used to measure the time the sand clock, okay, and nowadays here you can see the digital clocks which are very common. Even the sundial was also there to use measure time, and sand clocks were used by the Romans. So this is based on the periodic nature of these phenomena, and ancient people used such kind of devices like sundial or sand clock. Then what do we mean by speed? So the speed is the specific term that we use to distinguish between fast and slow. So the distance traveled by an object in one unit of time is called speed. And how do we express this? The speed means the distance traveled and the time taken. So if a body covers a distance s in time t, then its speed is given by v is equals to v, that means the velocity, it means the speed and the time. Now here there are some instruments that are used to measure the speed. So one is speedometer and the another one is odometer. The speedometer records the speed of a vehicle, for example car, scooter, in kilometer per hour. All automobiles are fitted with a speedometer in the driver's panel. Then this is odometer. The odometer records the distance moved by the vehicles, for example car, scooter, bus, truck, etc. in kilometer, and odometer is provided in the driver's panel. Now here one more thing that you can see in the picture, and this is measuring the speed of a ball. So how do we do that? To measure the distance between the point at which the ball crosses the line. So this is a line, the ball crosses the line, and the point where it comes to rest. So we will record the measurement and then we can calculate the speed of the ball. Now what do we mean by speed, distance and time, and what is the connection between speed, distance and time? So now we will learn that how they all are connected with each other. So let's start with the first picture, and that is, in this picture it shows a graph, and what is there in the graph? In horizontal line you can see the time is given, and in vertical line, vertical axis, the distance is given. So now let's understand that what is this? The distance time graph for the motion of an object moving with a constant speed. That's why you can see the line is straight. Time always runs horizontally along the x-axis, and this arrow shows the direction of time. Then the vertical line, in the vertical line you can see the distance per minute. So when an object is moving at a steady speed, the line on the graph is a straight line but with a slope. So the graphical representation of the data that gives information about the movement, that is data for the total distance moved at different times during movement, can be recorded and presented in pictorial form in different ways, such as bar graph, then pie chart, and then line graph. Now we have already understand about the uniform and non-uniform motion in grade 6. So a body is said to be in uniform motion if it covers equal distance in equal interval of time, and a body is said to be in non-uniform motion when it travels unequal distance in equal intervals of time. So this is all about the graph and what do we mean by uniform and non-uniform motion. And number 3, how we can represent the data of the movement of the body in a specific time, and we can represent them by using bar graph, pie chart, and line graph. Now, how to make a graph? How we can make a graph? In maths also you might have understood, and you must have used graph paper. So we will take one graph paper and then we will draw two lines perpendicular to each other, and the horizontal line, it shows x-axis, and the vertical line shows y-axis. So this way we will draw. Then we will choose one scale to represent the distance and another to represent the time on the graph. So suppose time is 1 minute, so 1 minute equals to 1 centimeter. Then distance 1 kilometer, so again the measurement will be of 1 centimeter. Then we will mark the values for the time and the distance on the respective axis according to the scale that we have chosen. Now, so you can mark for the motion of the car, mark the time 1 minute, 2 minute on the x-axis from the origin O. So this is your origin O, and this is time in minute, and here you can see the distance in kilometer. So now we will mark the points on the graph paper to represent each set of values for distance and time. This was all about the different topics that we have covered in the chapter motion and time.